It was a stormy October night in 1938 when the Texas Academy, a grand boarding school perched on the edge of a dense Texas woodland, became the scene of an unthinkable mystery. Rain pounded the roof, and wind howled through the broken branches of trees surrounding the campus. Inside, 15 students were finishing their evening study session in the library. They were ordinary kids, bright and ambitious, yet none of them would ever return to their dormitories that night. The headmaster, Mr. Whitmore, who had been overseeing the evening roll call, recalled that everything seemed normal until morning. The next day, teachers and staff realized something was terribly wrong. All 15 students had vanished. Their beds were neatly made, their personal belongings untouched, and there were no signs of a struggle anywhere on the grounds. Windows and doors were locked from the inside, and the storm had made the surrounding woods nearly impassable. Panic quickly set in. Parents rushed to the campus, but search teams found nothing. It was as if the students had simply evaporated into thin air, leaving behind only echoes and unanswered questions. Rumors spread like wildfire through the town. Some whispered that the students had run away together, but no one could explain why 15 young teens would leave so suddenly, without coats or belongings, in the middle of a violent storm. Others spoke of darker possibilities: kidnappings, secret experiments, or even curses tied to the school's founder. Local law enforcement combed the nearby woods, fields, and abandoned barns for weeks, but every effort ended in frustration. Search parties returned exhausted and shaken, unable to find even the smallest trace of the missing students. The disappearance became a national curiosity, appearing in newspapers from Dallas to Houston. Journalists speculated endlessly, often exaggerating details of strange lights seen near the campus or eerie screams heard in the night. Some visitors claimed they felt an unnatural chill near the school grounds, as if the air itself was keeping secrets. Despite the attention, no one came closer to solving the mystery. Investigators even questioned the teachers and staff, but everyone swore they had seen nothing unusual that night. Yet somehow, the students had vanished without a trace. What made the case even more unnerving was the calmness with which the school resumed normal operations in the weeks that followed. Classes continued, exams were administered, and new students were enrolled. But for those who remembered the fateful night, the memory lingered like a shadow over the campus. The empty beds, the untouched study materials, and the silence of the dormitories all whispered an unspoken truth. Something extraordinary and terrifying had occurred. It was a night that would haunt Texas Academy for generations to come. Even before the night of the disappearance, strange occurrences had begun to unsettle students and staff at Texas Academy. Hallways that were usually quiet after lights out would sometimes echo with whispers, though no one was ever there. Some students reported seeing flickering shadows darting along the walls, always just beyond the edge of the candlelight. One student swore he saw a figure standing at the end of the library, watching him silently for several minutes before vanishing entirely. Teachers dismissed these claims as imagination or youthful exaggeration. But the growing frequency of the incidents made even the most skeptical uneasy. Reports weren't limited to visual phenomena. Students claimed to hear footsteps echoing from empty corridors, doors opening and slamming by themselves, and soft chanting that seemed to come from beneath the floors. A few students drew crude sketches in their notebooks of strange symbols they said appeared in the corners of rooms, glowing faintly at night. Some spoke of recurring dreams in which they wandered dark tunnels and heard faint cries calling their names. Even those who had never been superstitious began sleeping with the lights on, anxious about returning to the shadowed dormitories each evening. Odd occurrences weren't confined to the students alone. Staff members also reported unsettling experiences. The headmaster noted that doors leading to the basement would occasionally be unlocked when they should have been secured, only to mysteriously lock again without explanation. A janitor claimed he saw a translucent figure moving through the dining hall late at night, its features indistinct but undeniably human. Whispers among faculty hinted at a strange energy surrounding certain rooms, particularly the chapel and the library, where candles would inexplicably burn down to stubs overnight despite careful supervision. Rumors of a secret society within the academy began circulating, whispered in corridors with growing fear. Some students claimed that the founder of Texas Academy, decades earlier, had conducted clandestine rituals in hidden rooms to protect the school from outside threats. While many dismissed this as fanciful gossip, others believed these rituals were tied to the strange occurrences haunting the campus. Notes and journals discovered later revealed cryptic warnings about forbidden chambers, mysterious symbols, and a shadow that watches, suggesting that the unusual events were not random, but part of a larger, concealed design. The tension reached a peak in the months leading to the disappearances. Students began avoiding certain areas, whispering warnings to one another to stay away from the shadows or never go near the basement at night. Even those who had once been brave or skeptical found themselves drawn into a growing sense of dread. Doors were double-checked, windows bolted, and groups of students began walking together at night, terrified of what might be lurking unseen. Whatever force or secret haunted Texas Academy, it was becoming impossible to ignore. And a palpable fear hung over the school like a storm cloud waiting to break. By 1939, a year after the mysterious disappearance of the 15 students, Texas Academy was struggling to maintain its once respected reputation. Fear had seeped into every corner of the campus, and rumors about ghosts, hidden rituals, and dark secrets had driven away both new and returning students. Parents were hesitant to send their children to a school where the shadows seemed alive and whispers filled empty hallways. Teachers reported that even the most disciplined students were distracted, anxious, or terrified, and some refused to attend classes altogether. The academy, once a bustling hub of learning, was beginning to feel more like a haunted relic than an educational institution. Enrollment numbers plummeted over the next few years, and the school's finances began to collapse. Faculty and staff who had once been loyal and dedicated started resigning under mysterious circumstances. Some claimed that at night, they heard the same eerie chants and footsteps reported by students, while others said they had seen strange lights flickering beneath the chapel's basement doors. Townspeople spoke in hushed tones about cursed halls and rooms that watch you, and the local media occasionally reported on unusual sightings near the campus. The academy's proud facade was crumbling under the weight of fear and suspicion, leaving only shadows of its former glory. Attempts were made to continue normal school operations despite the growing unease. Classes were held, examinations administered, and new students enrolled, but the atmosphere was far from normal. Students who dared to speak about the previous disappearances were either ignored or dismissed, leaving them isolated and terrified. Even ordinary activities, like moving between the library and dormitories, became exercises in anxiety. Lights would flicker, doors creaked open on their own, and shadows seemed to follow those who dared to walk the corridors alone. Each day, the academy felt less like a school and more like a trap for anyone who entered its gates. By 1945, it became clear that the school could no longer sustain itself. With dwindling enrollment, mounting superstition, and mounting maintenance costs, the administration made the difficult decision to permanently close Texas Academy. Students were transferred to other schools, faculty dispersed, and the campus was abandoned. Yet, even as the gates were locked and the halls emptied, townspeople reported strange occurrences on the deserted grounds, lights flickering inside the empty windows, doors opening and closing by themselves, and occasional shadows moving across the lawns as if the missing students were still wandering somewhere inside. The building, once a place of learning, had become a vessel of mystery. As the years passed, the abandoned Texas Academy became a place of legend and fear. Children dared each other to approach the gates. Teenagers trespassed, hoping to glimpse a ghost, and thrill seekers occasionally entered the crumbling halls, never to stay long, even without active life inside. The campus seemed alive with unseen activity, its empty corridors echoing the memory of the vanished 15. The mystery of the missing students lingered like a dark cloud over the town, and the notion that some part of the academy itself was keeping secrets only grew stronger with each passing decade. Decades after Texas Academy's closure, the story of the 15 missing students had become more legend than fact. Most of the town's residents had grown up hearing whispers and tall tales about the mysterious disappearance, but very little concrete evidence remained. The police files, once thick with reports, had deteriorated over time, leaving only fragmented notes and faded photographs. Yet, despite the lack of physical proof, some historians and amateur investigators were drawn to the case, convinced that the truth had been buried along with the students, and perhaps with the academy itself. During the late 1970s, a local historian unearthed old blueprints of the Texas Academy while researching a town archive. To his shock, the plans revealed hidden rooms and secret passageways that did not match the official school layout known to students and staff. Among the drawings were narrow tunnels beneath the chapel and library, connected in a complex network that seemed almost deliberately concealed. The historian speculated that these passages might have been used for storage or something far more sinister, but without the ability to physically explore them. The theory remained speculative. Further investigation revealed journals and letters from students who had attended the academy in the 1930s. These writings, tucked away in private collections, contained cryptic references to a tunnel beneath the stones and the room that whispers your name. Some entries described strange noises in the middle of the night, sudden chills in certain classrooms, and unexplained shadows at the edge of vision. One particularly chilling journal mentioned a warning from a senior student. If you follow the shadows, you may never return. While these writings did not provide definitive proof of what happened, they added layers of unease and hinted at something deliberately concealed by the Academy's founders. Despite the clues, no one could locate the hidden chambers. The physical structures were either sealed off, collapsed over time, or forgotten entirely. Explorers who attempted to navigate the decrepit campus reported feeling an oppressive presence, sudden drops in temperature, and the eerie sensation of being watched. Tools would mysteriously vanish, and flashlights would flicker or die without reason. Many left convinced that some unseen force was protecting the secrets of the academy, keeping the fate of the missing students buried for decades. Over time, these forgotten clues became the backbone of a new generation of researchers and thrill seekers. Amateur historians, paranormal investigators, and urban explorers pieced together fragments of journals, blueprints, and rumors in hopes of finally uncovering the truth. Though their attempts were often thwarted by crumbling walls, locked doors, and the uncanny atmosphere of the abandoned campus, the mystery refused to die. It lingered in shadows, whispers, and forgotten corners, suggesting that the hidden truth was still waiting if anyone dared to find it. In the spring of 2025, nearly 9 decades after the mysterious disappearance, a group of urban explorers set their sights on the long, abandoned Texas Academy. They were drawn by the legends, old blueprints, and journal fragments that had circulated among history enthusiasts for years. Equipped with flashlights, cameras, and recording devices, the team approached the campus at dusk, when the setting sun cast long, eerie shadows over the crumbling buildings. Every creaking floorboard and rusted hinge seemed to echo the stories of the past, and an unnatural chill clung to the air, as if the school itself remembered the vanished students. As the explorers entered the main hall, they were struck by how untouched parts of the building remained despite decades of decay. Dust-covered desks, overturned chairs, and scattered papers hinted at lives abruptly interrupted. The library, with its broken windows and rotting shelves, appeared frozen in time amid the debris. One of the explorers noticed faint scratches on the wooden floorboards, forming a pattern that didn't seem random. Following the subtle markings led them toward the basement, a place long rumored to conceal hidden passageways and secret chambers. The sense of anticipation and dread was almost palpable. In the basement, the team discovered a wall that seemed slightly out of place, its bricks newer and less weathered than the surrounding masonry. After careful examination, they found a loose brick that, when removed, revealed the entrance to a narrow, long-forgotten tunnel. The air that escaped the opening was thick and musty, carrying a scent of damp earth and decay. As they shined their flashlights into the dark corridor, the beam revealed worn floorboards, scattered belongings, and a faint trail of dust leading deeper into the hidden passage. The tunnel seemed to stretch endlessly, the walls echoing every footstep and whisper. With flashlights and cameras in hand, the explorers cautiously entered the tunnel, documenting everything. The walls were lined with old wooden supports, some rotted and splintering, giving the impression that the structure had been purposefully concealed and then abandoned. Small artifacts were scattered along the floor: an old notebook, a broken lantern, and faded pieces of clothing that seemed to date back to the 1930s. Each item added weight to the chilling realization that this hidden tunnel had somehow preserved evidence of the students' final moments. The atmosphere was thick with tension, and even the most skeptical members of the team felt an unshakable sense that they were trespassing into something far larger and far darker than they had anticipated. The deeper they ventured, the more the tunnel seemed alive with history. Faint etchings on the walls hinted at messages left by students who had perhaps feared being trapped here, while the air grew colder with every step. There was an undeniable sense of being watched, of unseen eyes tracking their movements. Shadows twisted along the edges of their flashlights, forming shapes that vanished when directly looked at. Every sound, the drip of water, the scuff of shoes, the soft hum of wind, felt amplified, as if the tunnel itself was whispering the Academy's long-held secrets. The explorers realized that they were standing on the verge of uncovering something monumental, something that had been hidden for 87 years, waiting for the right moment and the right people to reveal the chilling truth. As the explorers continued deeper into the hidden tunnel beneath Texas Academy, the air grew heavier, colder, and nearly suffocating. The walls seemed to close in, narrowing into a dimly lit corridor lined with rotting wooden supports. Then, almost as if guided by instinct, they reached a low archway concealed behind years of dust and cobwebs. Beyond it lay a chamber so well hidden that it had remained untouched for decades. The beam of their flashlights revealed a chilling sight: scattered school uniforms, age journals, and small personal belongings arranged eerily along the stone floor, as if the students had just stepped away and never returned. Among the scattered items were diaries and letters, their pages yellowed with age but surprisingly intact. One journal, in particular, drew immediate attention. Written in careful, teenage script, it chronicled the students' discovery of the Academy's dark secrets. The entries spoke of a secret ritual performed by the school's founder, intended to protect the future of Texas Academy. The students had stumbled upon a hidden chamber where the ritual was conducted and, according to the journals, were lured inside under the guise of curiosity. Once inside, the students were trapped, unable to escape the cleverly concealed passageways. The journals conveyed panic, confusion, and growing terror, leaving the explorers shaken. The chamber itself held more than just journals. Old lanterns, some still with remnants of melted wax, and broken furniture suggested that the students had tried to survive for some time. Names were etched into the walls in desperation, alongside cryptic symbols that matched those mentioned in the diaries. The explorers felt an eerie sense of presence, as though the room was holding on to the memory of the children's final hours. Faint whispers, or perhaps the imagination of the tense explorers, seemed to echo through the stone walls, reinforcing the idea that the chamber was more than just a hiding place. It had become a silent tomb, preserving both mystery and horror. The evidence inside the chamber revealed chilling details of what had likely happened. The ritual had gone horribly wrong, according to the journals, and the students became trapped within the hidden network of tunnels. No mention of rescue attempts existed. It seemed the founder's design had ensured that the chamber remained undiscovered. Personal belongings like shoes, notebooks, and even small toys were left exactly where the students had last used them, as if time had frozen at the moment of their disappearance. The explorers realized they were the first to see this evidence in nearly 90 years, and the weight of that realization pressed down on them like the stone walls themselves. As they carefully documented every item, the sense of dread deepened. The chamber's atmosphere seemed almost alive, preserving not just the objects, but the memory of the missing students in every shadow and corner. Questions ran through the explorers' minds. Had the students survived longer than anyone thought? Were they somehow preserved, physically or spiritually, by the mysterious ritual? And why had the chamber remained perfectly hidden all these years, despite the curiosity and investigations that had occurred over decades? The chilling clarity of the chamber left one undeniable truth. The disappearance of the 15 students was no ordinary mystery, and the secrets of Texas Academy were far darker than anyone could have imagined. Even after the hidden chamber was discovered, the story of Texas Academy refused to yield its secrets fully. Investigators and explorers were left grappling with questions that seemed impossible to answer. How exactly had the 15 students vanished so completely in 1938, leaving no trace above ground? The journals and personal belongings hinted at a ritual gone wrong, but they provided no concrete explanation of what force, natural, human, or something beyond comprehension, had trapped the students in the chamber for decades. Every theory seemed incomplete, leaving the mystery hanging like a shadow over the abandoned campus. Experts who examined the chamber were equally baffled. The items inside were remarkably preserved, despite nearly 90 years of decay and exposure to moisture. Personal effects like school uniforms, books, and notebooks were intact, as if time itself had slowed within the walls. Even more unsettling were the cryptic symbols etched into the stone surfaces, symbols that matched no known historical or occult references. Some believed they were protective wards. Others feared they were warnings left by the students themselves. Regardless, the symbols added another layer of enigma, suggesting that the Academy's founder had woven secrets too complex for anyone to fully unravel. Paranormal researchers and historians returned repeatedly to the site, hoping to detect some trace of the students' presence beyond physical evidence. Some reported strange phenomena, unexplained cold spots in the air, fleeting shadows in photographs, and the faintest echo of voices calling out in the empty corridors. Security cameras installed by later investigators captured inexplicable movements, shadows crossing walls or objects shifting without apparent cause. Each of these occurrences fueled the notion that the Academy, and perhaps the chamber itself, was more than a physical structure. It seemed to retain some memory of the events that had transpired within it, refusing to let the past fully rest. The questions extended to the very founder of Texas Academy. What had driven him to design such hidden chambers and conduct rituals beneath his school? Had he intended harm to the students, or had they been collateral victims of a plan meant to protect the Academy? The lack of any surviving records or witnesses left researchers in a limbo of speculation. Every answer seemed to breed a dozen new questions. The story was no longer just about missing students. It had become a puzzle of history, psychology, and perhaps forces beyond human understanding. Finally, even the local community struggled to reconcile the discovery with the long-held legends. Townspeople who had grown up hearing about the disappearances now faced the undeniable reality that the mystery was more horrific than folklore had suggested. The chamber confirmed that the students had been trapped for decades, but how, why, and by whose hand remained unclear. Even with modern technology and exhaustive investigation, the Academy seemed determined to withhold its ultimate truth. For those who encountered the site, the unanswered questions became an unsettling reminder. Some mysteries are never meant to be fully solved, and some shadows endure far longer than the lives they conceal. As the explorers stepped back from the chamber, a heavy silence settled over the ruins. Dust swirled in the beam of their flashlights, carrying the faint, lingering echoes of voices from decades past. Though they had uncovered the physical evidence, the full story of what had truly happened to the 15 students remained beyond reach, locked away in shadows, whispered by the walls themselves. The Academy's gates stood silent, the windows reflecting nothing but the cold night sky. Some mysteries, it seemed, are meant to linger, feeding on curiosity and fear, leaving only questions where answers should be. And somewhere in the darkness, perhaps just out of sight, the past was still watching, waiting for the next curious soul, brave or foolish enough to wander too close. The tale of Texas Academy serves as a chilling reminder. Not every secret wants to be discovered, and some doors, once open, may never be closed again. The student's story is frozen in time, yet it reaches forward through the shadows, daring anyone to uncover what lies hidden, if they dare.
If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Most importantly, subscribe and hit the bell icon so the next secret finds you first.